Hi, it's Dr. Molly with Your Goals Physical Therapy. In this video, I wanted to talk about Lisa, and Lisa gave me permission to talk about this, but she called kind of out of the blue because her shoulder just didn't move. So I thought this was kind of an interesting thing that maybe not a lot of people understand. So I figured I would share a little bit of this information. So she was telling me, so she called me up because the straw finally broke the camel's back, right? So her husband was going to go toss her a water bottle, and she couldn't get her arm up fast enough to catch the water bottle. So then the water bottle hits her, and it was embarrassing, and she just didn't like that, right? But she'd been dealing with her arm just not moving for a while. And she was like, it just didn't hurt, so I figured it would just go away. Eventually, it would raise up again. It doesn't hurt when I move it. I just can't get it up all the way. I can't get it out to the side. But again, how often do you have to do that with, your arm? And we all do things kind of down below our shoulder level. So it wasn't affecting too much of her life until the water bottle incident. And that was just very embarrassing. And so she's like, but I don't understand why I just won't move. And so now the longer this has gone on, the more it's kind of been burrowing in the back of my mind that something really bad must be going on, even though it doesn't hurt. And so I was like, well, that's not uncommon, and it's good that it doesn't hurt, and that you're actually able to move it. So, but I can't give you too much information over the phone because it really depends on what's going on in your joint, and to do that, I need to see you. So when we met up for the eval, I was able to move her and kind of feel how her joint was, and just to see how she, what it looked like when she did move her arm, what happens when she does certain things. And so I got a lot of information from that shoulder, and it turns out she's just really stiff for some reason. So that's what we're working with right now. But let me just kind of explain how that could possibly happen, because that was what I did for her, because it's very confusing as to how all of a sudden your shoulder just doesn't move. And so I have trusty little things to try to explain this. Hopefully this makes sense. So your shoulder blade and your shoulder are very connected. In fact, part of your shoulder blade has the little joint space, right, that your arm bone sits in. But because nothing is ever 100% simple in our body, our arm bone is actually quite a bit larger than the spacing for where it's supposed to sit. And that was for a reason, right? We want to be able to get our arm up basically 180 degrees, over our head in multiple directions. So if the joint area was super big, then we wouldn't be able to do that, right? That's why our hip typically doesn't go all the way up. Our leg doesn't go up all the way. For some people, they've been able to stretch out that good. But anyway, I digress. Back to the shoulder. So if your arm bone sits inside the little space, and it does what it's supposed to do, what happens is the rotator cuff actually pulls that down and allows just enough space so that when you turn your arm up out to the side, it misses the rim all the way around of that, the space that it's supposed to be, the joint that it's supposed to be in. All right, pretty cool. But because we sit, we don't really spend a whole lot of time stretching our arm, and there's all these other things, right? When was the last time you really thought about stretching your shoulder? Yeah, nobody does. So what happens is things get stiff and they stop moving correctly, and oftentimes our arm bone actually sits a little bit forward inside that space, which then means that our rotator cuff can't really do its job very well. And so what happens is it does what it can, and so you rotate as high up as you can, but eventually you end up hitting the rim, either here or on the side, right, of where it's supposed to sit in. And when it hits it, then to get it to go up any higher, you're trying to drag your whole shoulder blade out instead of them kind of moving together the way that they're designed to. One is just dragging the other one up, and eventually you just run out of space. And so, some movement. And so then your arm just sort of stops, and it doesn't necessarily hurt for most people. I can't go any higher. That's just the end of the range, right? And so that's what we're working on. In therapy is we're trying to get her where her arm has more flexibility and that rotator cuff is back to doing what it's supposed to do. And I'm happy to say, which is why I'm bringing this up, because obviously I'm very proud of her because she's done so much work, but now she's gained like 50% of her range back, where that's huge, right? So now she can catch that water bottle. We still have a little bit to go to get her back to 100%, but she's well on her way. So I just thought I would explain how somebody's arm could just move and not hurt, and how that could also mean that you don't need to have surgery, right? It just means you maybe need to have somebody help you work on stretching it and working on some strength in your rotator cuff. So I hope this information helps. If you know somebody that maybe is struggling with their shoulder and is too afraid to go talk to somebody because they think that they might need surgery, please pass this information along. I hope you're having a great day. Bye.